Okay, I'm going to show you how to make a wheel. If you're lucky enough to have a store that sells pre-made wheels, by all means buy them, but if you don't, I'll show you how to make them. This is what I'm going to show you how. And what I did was I took a couple of Spellbinders circles, and I believe this is about 4 inches because that's about what I needed for a wheel on one of my wheels. Well, no, it's not quite 4. It's about 3 3/4. I think it was the largest circle I had. I would have liked to have had 4. That's what it was. And I could cut my own, but I'm being lazy. But anyway, this is what I did: is I took the largest circle that I had, put it down, and then found one that came out about the right size, probably about 1/4 of an inch, probably a little more. Yeah, it's a little more. It's more like 3/8. 1, 2, 3, yeah, a little under 3/8. But anyway, I cut 9 of them, and they come out. And I used just I'm recycling some dessert boxes, and I cut 9 of them, and they come out looking like this. And your amount will depend on what kind of sticks you use. If you use a different thickness, yours will be different. But this is what I used, these little dowel rods, and it says they are 5/64 thick. That's 5/64 thick. But that's what it's like little dowel rods. And what I did was I cut 2 for each side of the wheel, like this, and then the other 5, I cut 9 altogether. So 4 of them I'm leaving as is, 5 of them I'm cutting down, and I'm just cutting right down the middle of my circle, and I'll show you why we're doing this in a minute. And however many of these you're going to cut for the middle part is however thick your dowel rod is. Mine is 5/64, like it said, so it took 5 of these thicknesses to make room for the dowel thickness. You'll understand in a minute. I'm probably not making much sense right now, but you just cut down the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect because this isn't going to be seen. And you're going to toss the innermost part and keep the outside edge. So we just cut that. And this is the part from the inside we just cut, and we're going to toss that, or we'll use it for something else. But now what you're going to do is you're going to glue all 5 of these that you cut down. Let's see if I can get them up here in my hand. You're going to glue all 5 of these together. You're going to glue 2 of these together, of the full ones, and then the other 2 together. So you want to glue these sets together like this. These 5 together, these 2 together, and these 2 together. And when I get that done, I'll be back to show you well, actually, before I do that, after you get them glued together, glue the stack of 4 to one of the sides. Just line it up on the outside edge, and it will look like that. So do that, and then I'll be back to show you how to do the rest. Okay, so I've got my pieces glued together. I've got all 5 of the inner pieces and 2 of the outside. Those are all glued into one, and then here's the other 2 outside pieces. Okay, we're going to start with this, and I also ought to mention that you should have some heavy books handy and your non-stick craft mat or something similar, because we're going to need to to set something heavy on it once we're done. But anyway, get you a scrap piece of paper and just put a little Dotto, a repositionable adhesive, and you're going to put your, oh I forgot also, you need a 3/4 inch circle punch, and what you do is, I used my little, I think this is like an 1/8 of an inch or something, a little punch here, and what you do is you just punch a hole like that, and then you come in with your 3/4 inch punch. I'll have to hold this up so I can see it, and I just kind of eyeball it, and you're going to punch that out like that, and you need 4 of those. And I'm just using, again, my scrap Little Debbie dessert box recycling. So you need 4 of those, and you're going to glue 2 together and then the other 2 together. So I've done that already, and I've got my there's 2 here and 2 here glued together. So what we start with is our scrap piece of paper. Let me get it up here where you can see. And I put some repositionable adhesive on there, and now I'm going to put one of these little center pieces on, and it's probably going to be hard to see, but you'll get it, get the drift. Now this one that we've put all the pieces together, the 5 inside and the 2 outside, we're going to put some adhesive, the repositionable adhesive, on the outside. And I'll probably have to pull this close to me, but we're going to center this around our piece like that, but I've got to have it close to me, so, because I'm half blind. So pardon me for a minute. And again, I just eyeball this, and I could go and measure and, you know, make sure it's all perfect, but I don't. Okay, here's my piece. Now we've got our repositionable adhesive on there, and it's all stuck down so it won't move around right now. We want to be able to take it off later, but for now we don't want it to move. And next we need to cut our spokes, and you're going to need 12 spokes. And the way I cut mine down is I just eyeball it again. I just hold it up here into the frame that's going down into this frame part. Let's see if I can get it up there where you can see a little better. It's going down in there, and you want to cut it off before it gets to the center hole, because you don't want it covering your center hole. So as long as it's reaching from there to there, and it has plenty of room to glue on, then you're good. I just kind of eyeball mine, and then I just use that same one to cut the rest of my spokes. So bear with me for a minute while I do this, and they'll be flying everywhere. There's 3. Make sure nobody's standing around in shooting distance, because you don't want to poke anybody's eyeballs out with the flying pieces. Let's see, that's 5. Kind of like watching paint dry, isn't it? 6. 7. 8. Sorry, I'm trying to hurry. 9. 10. 11 and more. Okay, here's our quilt. Now you want to put a generous amount, but you don't want it so overflowing that it's going to get all over your paper. But you do want plenty of glue, because you really want this, you know, to bond well, because it's going to be holding up the weight of your project. So I put plenty of glue in there, and I know it's going to ooze, but I can wipe that off later. And it's good to have a towel, wet towel, handy to wipe your fingers off. And I got my glue all around there, and then you're going to put it around the center part too. And then you start just laying in your spokes. I start by going, I didn't get enough glue over there, I don't think. Let me put a little more here. Okay, I just start by putting one down and making sure that it lines up with the center hole. And then I put one directly across from it. And you always want to line up the center end with the hole. And then we're going to go the opposite way. I hope you're seeing this okay. I know my hands are in the way. And I like to keep turning my... You can adjust them before it's all done. Okay, once you get that, and then you're going to put 2 in each space there. Just evenly space them. And if they aren't perfect, then, you know, no sweat. Handmade, right? It's not supposed to be perfect, or so I'm told. Okay. There we go. And I think I need to mark over here. And you just continue on around, getting all your spokes in there. Trying to get them even. I don't have the best eyesight, so if mine don't look even, just kind of overlook it. Okay, the last 2 here, get those in, make sure it all looks fairly even. I'm sure there's some that aren't. Yeah, this looks a little off there. These look a little wider. I could fiddle with them all day, seeing one that doesn't look as good as it should. So I probably should leave them alone before I mess them completely up. Now what I do is I put glue again on this side of them, and then on the outside rim too, because we're going to be sandwiching our other side on. And your glue will definitely ooze, but you want to put plenty of glue because you want this to be a really stable piece, because like I said, it's going to be holding up the weight of our project. And then I also put some around the center here, and then we put on our pieces. We've got the little center hub thing that goes on top there. And then this other side piece that we did, it's going to go on there. And now you just want to squish it down, and all your little glue is going to squish out the sides. But you want to make sure it's a really nice, good seal. And once you get all this done, get everything all lined up perfectly the way you want it to be, you're going to peel it off very carefully because you don't want to distort it. Come on. Oh, don't come loose. No, no, no. I should probably let it dry a little bit before I try and take it off. But okay, see, I've got some, let's see, where's the camera? Sorry, I wasn't looking. I've got some ooze coming out the sides there. You just want to wipe that off, and you want to make sure all your little circles are all lined up and everything. And you just go around and wipe that off. Be careful not to get a paper cut by going on the edges of your paper, you know, your chipboard or cardboard there. And as it dries, a little more will ooze out. And if you've got some in the center that oozes, what I do is let me wipe my finger off here. I take one of the little dowel rods and I just go in there and just kind of wipe it with a good, you know, wipe up the excess with the dowel rod. I hope you're seeing this okay. It looks pretty good to me. And I need to make sure everything's all lined up, so excuse me for a second. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to take your little wheel and you're going to sandwich it between your craft mat, and you're just going to set some heavy books on it, and you want it to dry absolutely completely before you take it out of there, because you run the risk of your wheel warping if you take it out before it's completely dry. And I leave mine in like a day or two because I want to make sure that mine is dry, because I don't want my wheel warping at all, you know, because that's a pretty delicate, you know, delicate way to do it. I mean, once it's dry, it's very, very sturdy, but it's a delicate wheel, you know, while it's still wet. But anyway, that's how I make my wheels. And then you can paint them, or, you know, do whatever you want to with them. And if you didn't like the edge here, you could take a little strip of paper and go around it and glue it onto the edge, but I kind of like mine that way. Mine are going to be painted, so I'm not worried about it. And I'm not real sure what I'm going to do for axles, so that's why I just I punched a hole just to have a hole, you know, in case I needed it. I might not need it, but we'll see as the project goes on. But you just repeat this process for your other two wheels, which would be a little smaller. These were what, 3 3/8 or something? What did I say they were? No, about 3 5/8. That's what these come out to, about a little over 3 5/8. And then your front wheels are going to be a little smaller, so you just choose whatever looks good to you. I haven't made mine yet, so whenever I do, I'll let you know what size I end up with. But that's how you make your wheels. Very easy, and they look pretty good, I think. I hope that is helped somebody with their wheels, and let's move on to whatever else we got to do.